Today I'm joined by someone who's literally fighting for women empowerment, the owner and founder of Fierce Fit Australia, a powerful movement helping over 14,000 women rewrite what strength looks and feels like. So I have Jordie White here.
Hi babe. How are you?
I'm so good. How was your trip?
Yeah, it was good. Easy,
Yeah.
cruising.
Yeah.
Didn't hit any traffic, so that's good.
Amazing. So let's just start with the beginning. What kind of lit the spark for Fierce Fit?
So I've been in the combat sports scene for quite a few years now. And when I transitioned out of elevating myself out of that box fit environment, I really wanted to challenge myself and get into sparring, potentially fight and do all these kinds of things. So I took the leap and joined a fight gym, and I really, really quickly found that boxing is such a boys' club.
Yes, it is.
It is a boys' club to the bone.
Yeah.
I found that on sparring nights, on technique nights, partner drill nights, all these kinds of things, it was really obvious that it was not a welcoming space for women. And if you were a woman and wanted to join that space, you had to earn your stripes. And I was like, come on. Like it was really, really intimidating. And I consider myself to be a pretty tough person and can deal with tough environments. But this was nothing like I'd ever experienced before.
Yeah.
So I kind of just dealt with it. I started sparring with men and things like that. And it just really, if given the wrong environment, it's really intimidating and it can put you off the entire sport altogether. So
there was a time early on where you felt a bit like an outsider.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
I was often the only woman in the class, and I did meet one other girl who I'm still friends with to this day. She's such an angel. And I would only go if she went. And I would be like, are you going today? Because I don't want to go by myself. And I was like, this feeling is cooked. Like, no one deserves to feel like this walking into a gym. So through this, I kind of experimented with other gyms, and I quickly found out that it wasn't just a gym specific vibe. It was boxing specific vibe.
Yeah.
And so I thought, that's it. Like, that's enough. Like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to feel like this anymore. I don't want other women to feel like this anymore. So I just kind of started the conversation with a core group of girls being like, hey, is this something that you'd be potentially interested in? I'd be like running a session. I initially had like 10 girls being like, yeah, I could get into it. And that's what kind of sparked the whole thing. And it just kind of has spread like wildfire. But yeah, that's how it kind of like lit the spark of how many women are actually really interested in getting involved in the sport of boxing, but they're too scared. And I was like, let me be that space where you don't have to be scared anymore. So yeah.
Amazing. Yeah. And why did you want to do boxing in the first place? Like, what actually drove you to boxing?
So I was in a really dark place emotionally. I was going through quite a bit a number of years ago. In a space where I really felt really very alone and very out of control of a lot of things circulating in my life. And so I put on a pair of gloves and I went to like a boxing class, and I was like, wow, I feel so empowered, and I feel all those endorphins made me feel like I had some level of control over what was happening in my life again, and had control over those endorphins and what made me feel good. So that's what I wanted to keep chasing that feeling and chasing that empowerment and chasing that mental strength and that mental grit that the sport gave me. And even just offering that space for a couple of women who have never done it before either, finding that emotion translates to everybody. I was like, oh yeah, this is just something to really kind of grasp onto. And I thought, if I can make any other woman not feel alone and feel like they have a safe place to come to, then I'm more than honoured to be there for them, because I have women who are like struggling from breaking away from bad relationships and DV survivors and things. So that's what I want to encourage to keep doing for them too.
Yeah. And what would be one word that kind of describes your coaching style and your mentorship? Because it's not just a class that you run, right? It's like it's an actual movement of
Yeah.
other women going through, like you said, different things. So what's your, I guess, your one word that kind of describes that?
Interesting. That's a really good question. One word. I think empowerment is a really strong one that comes to mind. Largely because it's based on how everybody feels afterwards. And it's how I feel after boxing, and it's how a lot of other women feel after doing it too. So I think that would be that, empowerment for sure. Yeah.
What do you think makes Fierce Fit as a brand so magnetic to other women? Like, for example, me, when I first saw your brand, I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. Like, I personally felt the same way. I love boxing, but I did not want to be in a boys' club. And I also felt that it was unfair to be sparring against men all the time. I felt like it was a bit of an unfair playing field, and
Absolutely.
I'd come home and I'd have injuries and things like that, and it put me off it completely. But now that you've opened such a safe space, and I know that I'm going to be sparring with other women, that makes me feel more confident to be able to actually like step into it. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So how do you think you made the brand feel so magnetic? Like, what was the thing that you did to kind of get it there?
I think it's really kind of pushing the narrative that boxing is not, boxing is not male specific, and also really kind of pushing the notion that it's all ages, all abilities, all fitness levels, all experience levels. I really wanted to make sure that this community is inclusive of everybody. So a lot of the conversations I've had with women along the way have been like, oh, I haven't, done a lot of boxing before, or I'm not really fit at the moment. I'm, just had a baby 6 months ago, and all that kind of thing. These are the concurrent conversations I'm having all of the time. So it's requiring me to step in and say, that's okay. It's absolutely okay. I don't expect you to show up as anyone but yourself. And sometimes people just showing up is all that they have. And that's absolutely fine as well. So providing that safe, welcoming, inclusive space, I think is what has made the brand so magnetic, because I have had 11-year-old girls come along, and I've had 55-year-old women come along, and everyone in between. And just through them trusting me on my word and saying, this is for all levels and all ages and all experiences. It's kind of thought and they've come along and they've really, really enjoyed themselves, and they go, oh, okay, she wasn't wrong. Like she is a woman that's true to her word and is actually making this an inclusive sport for everybody. So yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And what was one moment early on in your business that you kind of thought, this is bigger than me? It's not just me trying to make some money and also doing something that I love. It's actually for other people too.
Yeah. Really quite early on, it was earlier in the year, I hosted a large-scale event at the LSKD HQ rooftop. There were a few levels of recovery involved. I invited other small businesses to come along. I had lymphatic roller machines there. I had a small matcha pop up there, and
love.
Yeah, I know, right? Vibes. And it was just such a fun morning. And I thought, at the end of this big empowering boxing session on a rooftop in the middle of February, it was stinking hot. I just thought, there is such power in the sweaty times, but there's also a lot of power in the still times as well. So I thought, I'm just going to do a quick 5 minutes of breath work, grounding, meditation. I literally Googled how to deliver a 5-minute grounding breathwork session. So I literally Googled it. But I was like, okay, cool. I want to do this at the end and just kind of see how it lands. And after this session, again, it was only 5 minutes, but I changed the music from being, bah, 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 to being really calm and really slow. And I think it was that I Am Woman song. It was beautiful. And then I just talked them through the breath work. And then I had 3 women come up to me in the end in tears, being like, that was just so overwhelming. I felt so good, and I had so many emotions come through me from just delivering those powerful punching, like powerful shots with gloves on, and then taking that moment for themselves to ground themselves in the stillness and the breath work. And they come up to me and they were just in tears, being like, that was the best feeling and most overwhelming sense of emotion I've felt in a long time, and I really needed it.
So many people don't know the power of breath work, which is crazy. Like my whole life, I never knew what it was.
Yeah.
And then when I did it, I was like, I was like, oh my God, why have I not been doing this forever?
Honestly.
Yeah.
And it's only through doing that for myself, and when I was going through a really tough period a number of years ago, doing things for myself and literally Googling, reading books on like how I can do it for myself outside of a boxing studio.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, I'll just see how this lands. Some people think it's a bit woo-woo. Some people really love it. So I'll just see how it goes. And it really kind of landed quite well. And I was like, wow, this is so much bigger and more powerful than I thought that this would be.
Yeah,
so that was kind of like a real turning point in being like, I need to really hone in on this and making sure that every single woman here feels loved and seen. And that's just, so powerful.
Because do you think as a society women don't really get to feel seen anymore, like as people? Yeah.
I do. We're overlooked, and especially a large portion of the women in my community are mothers, and the mental load that we take is just beyond. Like everyone's working full-time jobs, they are looking after kids, and then they're also trying to find a moment for themselves, and it's just expected. There's no space for them to either honour themselves or prioritise themselves. So that's why I want to offer the space as well. Not just about come along for a boxing class. It's a moment and time for them to feel seen.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
You've said before everything you've ever built has kind of scared the shit out of you.
Amen.
How do you personally move through fear?
Run towards it.
Yeah.
Absolutely, like at 100% speed. I never used to be like that.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. If it scared me, I'd be like, oh, maybe it's just because I haven't planned it enough. I haven't organized it enough. I haven't thought it through properly. I was seeking validation from like friends, family, and being like, oh, do you think this is a good idea? And then it reached a certain point when I was like, actually, screw that. Like, screw anyone that thinks that this is going to be a bad idea.
Yeah.
So anything that came up from fear, every time I had pushed past that fear and run towards it, it had always worked out on the other side. Not in even necessarily a positive way, but there was always a lesson that I had taken away from that, being like, oh, I can use that for next time.
So was there a specific moment where the first time ever that you kind of stepped into that fear? Like, can you remember it and what it was like?
It was actually the launch of the business, because I actually, funnily enough, I hate public speaking.
Don't we all?
No, I actually hate public speaking.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until, this is like sidebar, it was my brother's wedding last year, and he asked me to be the MC, and I was like, excuse me?
Sorry?
No, and he goes, oh, you'll be funny. And I'm like, I'm not the funny friend. What do you mean?
Yeah.
And so it was actually so fun. And then the amount of people that came up to me and go, oh, do you do this for a job? And I was like, what do you mean?
Oh my God.
I've never done this before in my life. And so I thought, oh, maybe I'm not too bad at the public speaking gig. But then it wasn't until I actually launched the business and I had to deliver a huge session to a fully booked out launch, which had about 40 women there.
Yeah, wow.
That I was, it's always easy to be like, yes, I know what I'm doing in training. Yes, I know what I'm doing in boxing, but then translating your knowledge into being able to distribute that information in a way that is beginners can receive it and also experienced women can receive it as well. It just kind of makes you more attuned into that kind of educational language as well.
Because there's such a variety of people that train with you, right?
Yeah.
So it's not just novices or beginners. It's actually a mix.
Absolutely a mix. But the launch was the biggest time where I thought, oh my God, there is a group of, but that not only just the women that were attending the launch, it was the staff of the owners of the gym as well. And they're all standing there watching me. I'm like, oh, wow, this is really happening. Like, what have I gotten myself into?
And in Brisbane, I feel like there is no other from what I've seen anyway in the market, there
Yeah.
is no other specific tailored to women boxing. So
Correct, yeah.
when you approach gyms and businesses and were like, hey, I want to do this, what was like the thing that got you to kind of convince them that that was the right thing to do? Or do you think people were really just on board straight away?
A lot of the businesses that I had to approach about hosting this morning, they were trying to, I guess, leverage off my community that I was building and being like, oh yeah, like, you know, they're telling me they can come and do some free PTs in a free month. And I'm like, oh no, this is like my community. This is a transactional relationship type thing.
Yeah.
And they go, oh yeah, we've always tried to get ladies classes and things like that running, or I'm trying to do this or trying to do this with the group. And I've gone, okay, cool. Like totally fine. Totally support that in your business. But unfortunately, I just don't think in male-owned gyms, there's not a huge understanding of the demographic. Like a 6 p.m. women's class for boxing or any kind of combat sport.
It's not going to work.
Right.
No.
It's not going to work. Like, I mean, that's
we
bedtime.
got work, we got children, we got to get to bed, we've got like all these things going on.
Bath time, dinner time, school bags, breakfast, making sure everyone's fed, in bed, blah, blah, blah. And so I was like, 6 p.m. is just not going to work unless you are a young, childless, you know,
and
a student or it's your passion or it's your actual sport and you're wanting to become an athlete in, then that's totally, totally different. But I was like, 6 p.m. is just not a great time. And so I just think there was like a real lack of understanding of what women were needing and at the right time as well. So
it's so funny that you say that because like there are so many men that they can go to all those classes because they've got their wife at home or their partner to support them with those roles. So it's just crazy, right?
Yeah. Yep.
If there was one piece of advice you would give to every woman who has ever felt like they don't belong, what would it be?
That you're not alone.
Yeah.
You're not alone. So I really pride myself in having personal connections with all of the women that come to my classes and every single woman in my community. There's 1,500 girls in my community now.
Yeah.
And I have had direct conversations with every single one. I've opened the door for every single person because they felt alone and they felt unseen. Some women are from other states. I've got women in Darwin following me, women in Melbourne following me, being like, hey, when are you coming to Darwin? Hey, when are you coming to Melbourne? Hey, when are you coming to Sydney?
Come to a tour.
I'm like, I'm just going to do a Fierce Fit tour. No worries. But yeah, it's just the resounding, I guess, feeling is that they are feeling alone and they are feeling like they don't have a huge amount of control or power of some element in their life.
That's missing.
That's completely missing.
Yeah.
And so that's why I'm there to say, like, you're not alone. I can see you. I see how hard you're trying. And that's something that I feed into my community. Every Friday we have a Fierce Fit Friday in my group community chat. And I always get them to say, what's a win that you've had this week? I've asked them, what's a win? It doesn't mean like, oh, yes, I did 6 workouts this week, or sometimes I've always encouraged being like, yes, I've managed to get my son or my daughter to sleep in their own bed this week, or I managed to, because it's so broad and I'm wanting to make them feel seen and understood that just because it's not this big whole, you know, huge win that you plaster all over Instagram, it doesn't mean it's not a win. Yeah. So yeah, that's what I try to instill.
And do you feel like also because you're so like welcoming of people that when women, like for example me, right, I feel like because my body doesn't fit a certain stereotype of what a female boxer is, that I can't be welcomed into a local gym. If I went to like a local gym and said, hey, I want to do boxing, I'm sure they'd sign me up and everything.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
But I wouldn't feel that welcoming kind of presence because of my body type. And I felt like when I met you, it wasn't even like a thing. Like it was just very like, here's the gloves, in you go, you know, like, like let's have that conversation. Yeah. How do you feel social media kind of plays on women in regards to like our bodies and how we should kind of look and things like that?
I don't think it's just social media. And I think it is just obviously a huge part of it plays on social media, but then a huge part of it is actually the nature of the sport of boxing as well, because it is such a weight-focused sport. You've got your different weight levels of people that are fighting at. And I mean, I know from personal experience, I was really sick of feeling like a guest in a boxing gym that I was going to because of being underestimated in my power, underestimated in my punches, underestimated in my fitness ability as well, because I am a plus size person. And then the look on their face is like, oh, she's done this before, or oh, she's actually pretty fit. And I thought, yeah, that's because of you. You've underestimated me, and it really frustrated me. So I think that teamed in with social media, I'm always a big advocate for conscious consumption when it comes to Instagram. If you're finding things that are not aligning with you, to unfollow, quickly scroll past so your algorithm doesn't pick up that you're looking at it.
Yeah.
But anything that's not going to feed into, I guess, that idea of what you're looking at. And yeah, just society and the standards that are being upheld for women and what they should look like. You know, just because you're curvy, it doesn't mean you're fit. And that is a hill I will die on. Is that I'm sick of people being underestimated because of my size, because of my height, because of my weight. I'm sick of feeling like just because I'm not 60 kilos, it doesn't mean I'm not fit. And there's a lot of like toxic blokes out there would be like, well, you could be 60 kilos if you just worked a bit harder. And you're like, yuck, dude.
Like go away. Get off it.
Like Glen 20, get away from me.
Yeah, because I feel like even for me personally, like I train 5 days a week, right? I lift heavy weights, I run, I do all these things. But because I don't look a certain way, people just assume like she's not fit.
Or she's new. She's not done this, but maybe she needs some help.
Maybe she needs some guidance with like her nutrition. And I eat really well. Like I eat good food. I drink my water. You know, I have my greens. I do the whole thing. But I feel like, there is a stereotype of what
a fighter
looks like, a fit woman, like especially as a mum, like you're meant to kind of bounce back and that kind of thing. And I feel like it's so
toxic. Yeah, I totally agree. And it's so hard. And I remember just even in the initial stages of moving and transitioning into an actual fight gym where there are competitive athletes there and things, and then running and cardio drills, and I'm running past the boys, or I'm on the next lap in front of some of the boys, and they go, oh, and I, yes, I am.
Do it.
And I will do this again tomorrow. Like, you know what I mean? It just is it's the shock. It's not even necessarily about the negative commentary, but it's the initial like, oh, it's like, just, anyway.
What role does mindset kind of play when it comes to being in the ring and also in life?
Ooh, that is a great question. Mindset in the ring and in life. I guess when it comes to being in the ring, it's knowing your abilities, knowing your strengths, and also I don't really believe in weaknesses. I always think they're areas for improvement.
Yeah.
Stick to your strengths and make yourself as adaptable as possible, because when you're in the ring and you've got an opponent, you only know what you're good at, and you can only have some level of understanding and awareness of the other person's experience as well. And it's just being able to adapt and move around that. But that's also translates into life as well, is know what your strengths are, know what your areas for improvement are, and grow from there. Because every single time you get into the ring or you hit that next, that hurdle in life, it's going to elevate you to that next level, and you're going to be improving constantly. But also life isn't always an upward trajectory, right? Sometimes things are just shit for like a long time for literally no reason, and it can make you second guess your whole ability as a fighter or as a woman, as a mum, and all those kinds of things. I know I was sparring last weekend and I absolutely got my head punched in, and it was a very humbling experience. And it's one of those spars where I was crying the whole way home. Be like, I'm just quitting this stupid sport. I can't do it anymore. I'm just too old for this shit.
That's so common though, is that when you do sparring, sometimes you get to a certain person and you don't think as well. You don't think that they're going to kick ass.
Yes.
And then they do, and you're like,
I'm a fraud. Anyway, but it's just the sport, right? Like that will just happen sometimes. And then you come back 2 weeks later and you're like, I've got it all over you, and it's completely fine. But then that also, translates into life as well. It's like there are some times when you're like, I just can't do this anymore. I cannot see a way out. I'm drowning. I can't see the end of the tunnel. And you just push every day, every hour, and just every moment and everything that happens is an opportunity for learning, whether it's about yourself or whether it's about something you need to improve on or how you react to things or how you digest certain information. Maybe it's from like a defensive mindset or maybe it's from like a positive mindset, all that kind of thing.
So say tomorrow in an imaginary world you woke up and you're like, I've got my fight on in like 6 weeks, right?
Oh my God.
You got your first big fight and you're like, what am I going to do? And you got no idea, you got no advice, you got nothing. What is the first thing you're going to say to that person?
If they say to me, you're fighting in 6 weeks, I would say, holy moly, but let's go. Let's get at it.
Yeah.
Move towards the fear.
Yeah.
6 weeks is not a long time to prep and be in camp. So it's just go hard and give it everything you've got. There are people that are given 3 days notice on a fight. 1 day notice on a fight.
Yeah, I don't know how. That's like my worst nightmare. I've literally had dreams before of that and I'm like, no.
Honestly, my partner was fighting last night and his opponent pulled out the evening before and we didn't find out until the day of the fight that he was going against someone that had like 20 fights in a pro fight under his belt. And he was like, we adapt, we move forward. You know your strengths. We know what you're good at. Just keep going. Push it. So
how did you meet your partner?
We actually met on Tinder.
Oh, cute. I love that. I love it so much.
Yeah.
And how long have you guys been together?
2 years.
Wow.
Yeah, he's an angel. Yeah.
And I think what's so cool is that you guys are both powerhouses in your own right. And like the fact that you're both interested in the same sport is also really cool. So how do you kind of like navigate, I guess, your routines and your life and everything else?
It's so he plays footy as well. So he is ride or die footy and he's been playing A grade for a billion years at his club.
Yeah.
So when we first met, he has always been interested in boxing. He's loved boxing. He's done boxing a few times before, but it wasn't until we met and I was like, this is something that I actually take really seriously. Do you want to give it a go? And he was like, oh, yeah, okay. But then it turns out he was actually really good at it and he really loved it. And I introduced him to my coach as well. And then he kind of flourished and went from there. But something that we have in common and it's something that we agreed on very, very early on and what we kind of really connected on is that when it comes to fighting, when it comes to sport, when it comes to nutrition and priorities, because he has a son as well who's the most beautiful little angel. I love him so much. And it's always like our priorities have always been on the same page. We are always going for the same goals.
Yeah.
So we navigate life. The easiest part of our lives is our relationship. And that is such a calming and grounding place. Like our home and our safe place is each other.
Yeah, that's so beautiful.
It is so nice. And even when I've had a tough sparring session, he's had a tough sparring session, or if he's, if he's, not played, if he's not had a good game of footy or whatever it's been. When it comes to nutrition and it comes to recovery, there is not one side that's dropping the ball in terms of motivating the other person, because I know a dynamic, lots of dynamics and lots of relationships, and it's not to say it's a bad thing, but it can be a struggle when one person is really driven towards doing something and achieving something
and the other person's not,
and the other person isn't, or when it comes to understanding nutrition, maybe one side of the party is not super into that and will just do whatever. It makes it the upward hill push a lot harder when you've got one person that's wanting to not just be aware of what they're eating, but understanding macronutrients and all those kinds of things as well that are going to fuel your body for a fight. So navigating life and navigating this sport together it's hard, because when he's in camp, I'm not in camp, and it can switch out from time to time, but we definitely take the load off each other when it does come time. And then sometimes when we're training together, because every Monday night we do get to train together, and it's so nice.
Yeah.
Like we both get to have our hard training sessions, and then we're usually circling around the city doing our own things for the rest of the week.
Yeah.
And it's our time to really come back together, train together, and also spar each other, which is just, I think it's couples therapy.
Is it is it fun sparring each other?
Yes,
do you guys get like in the zone?
Yeah, we do.
Oh
and
my
he's
God.
good. Like we coach each other and things like that.
Yeah, I love that.
It is so good. He'll There's sometimes when, you know, it'll just be like my turn to just go nuts on him, and it's great. And we'll adjust each other and we'll say, hey, like next time try and work on this, or, you know, try and get out of anyway. But yeah, it's good. It's great.
And how do you feel stepping into that like stepmother kind of role and all of that and juggling everything else? What's like your biggest kind of takeaway from that whole experience?
It really was it was definitely one of those things where when I was single, I was very much a homebody. I would go to work, go to training, go home, and I have my absolute silence. I read my books, I sit in my bath, I go to saunas, I go to these, and that was like my life. And I was like, this is my peace. But I didn't realize is that you have to make your own peace, and then getting thrust into a stepmother lifestyle. And, you know, his son is 5 soon.
Wow.
And so it just really hit that age where, you know, initially it was like, who is this girl that's like with my dad?
Yeah.
But he's just the most loving, beautiful little boy, and we have so much fun. And it was really challenging because I am never one that wants to ever overstep or wants to push anything. I never, you know, I have a great relationship with his mum as well, which is
beautiful.
Definitely helpful. And I was always there from the early stages to say, I'm not a threat. I'm not here to overstep. I'm not here to push myself onto anybody. Everything has to come naturally and organically. And even just the first time, I remember when he said, I love you before bed, I was like, oh my God, I'm going to cry. Oh my God, I love you too.
Yeah.
But it's awesome. And just even through being that age and, you know, he's understanding I'm not understanding, but he's being aware of emotions, and he's got big emotions, and, you know, sometimes they're amazing and sometimes they're not so good. And
all the feelings.
All of the feels. And, you know, and he's slowly beginning to, he wants to tell me and show me about the fun stuff. And I think that's amazing that he wants to tell me about that, because then that will transition into feeling comfortable telling me about the not so good stuff, hopefully one day. So yeah, he's like,
becoming that kind of safe space.
Yeah, safe space, and just be like another adult that's a safe person to be around, and as someone that he can trust with big feelings. I'm never going to turn him away. I'm never going to make him feel judged, or it's not right to feel a certain way ever, because that's something that I experienced as a kid, like a lot of invalidation on my feelings and my emotions, and I would never, ever do that to him. So
you've taken like kind of a hard time in your life and just adjusted it so that it doesn't happen to somebody else.
Exactly. And also I think we end up becoming the parents that in my personal opinion, we end up becoming the parents that we wish we had.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's it.
That's so beautiful. How do you teach confidence to women who have never felt strong?
Yeah, teaching confidence is so hard.
Because I'll be real, like when we did our photos, I did not feel confident at all. But then I felt so comfortable.
Yeah.
I felt so comfortable and so confident in myself. And it wasn't like that I had to be a certain way or anything like that. It was just me being who I am, hitting a pad, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So how do you do that? Like, it's an amazing skill that you have.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I think showing up for yourself, you can't teach somebody to be confident. I guess the first step to feeling confident is accepting yourself, and that is a hard enough thing to do alone. But glorifying yourself and just putting yourself out there, and I think being in such an uncomfortable position, like the photo shoot, for example, it's teaching you and your mind that you can do hard things.
Yeah.
And then once you step out and into that comfort zone, your life exists, it increases and gets so much better outside of your comfort zone. And I think putting a lot of women in that position, but also making them feel safe that they can do that, even if they don't feel like they've done well, or even if they've loved it, having that safe space for them, but also encouraging them. And I think that comes from consistency and encouragement and validation and saying, you look you look amazing, you're feeling amazing. And it's not just about how you look, it's about how you feel as well, which is where it all comes from in the end, is your mindset. So encouraging them to trust themselves and embrace themselves as well, that they are, they're doing something for themselves, and they go, oh, actually I can do this. And that's what goes on that extra confidence. So
And your social media is amazing. I absolutely love it.
thanks, girl.
How did you get yourself to kind of be so just you in the social media light, especially with, you know, the whole fight industry and I guess the way that women are meant to be kind of perceived online? How did you kind of step into that?
Being unapologetically myself, I've realized that there could be business models that are like mine. There could be other businesses that want to adapt something similar to what I have, and that's okay because the fitness industry and the combat sports industry is extremely competitive. That's all right. But what I realized is that what makes my community so special is that it's me behind the screen creating personal connections with people.
Yeah.
And getting that feedback of how women feel after a session is given me confidence back in what I'm doing is the right thing and I'm going in the right direction. So showing up as myself unapologetically, I hope that it portrays the feeling that it's okay for other women to just show up as themselves and they don't have to be anything but themselves. And I will never expect them to be anything but themselves.
Yeah.
But just to show up and do what's best for them and, you know, feel good. So that's how I think it should be anyway. But
I love that so much. So on that topic, what's the most powerful transformation you've seen in one of your clients since you've started?
So there was a lady that came along to one of my boot camps very early on, very shy, very timid, and just through getting to know her and her story without going into personal detail.
Yeah.
She's dealt with a lot in her life. She has experienced a lot in her life and she felt very scared and very like so many deeper levels than just being shy and anxious about going to a class. There are so many other components that going on that have put her in that position of feeling that way. And even in just the 6 months that I've been seeing her, talking to her, just getting to know her and understanding how she receives feedback or how she receives compliments and things like that. And now then seeing her, I only, you know, recently saw her for a private session at a boot camp as well. And just seeing how mentally her mindset is, she's not apologizing so much just for taking up space.
Yeah.
And that is so powerful.
That's a big thing.
Seeing the smile on her face when she comes into boot camp now and seeing when I know that she's partnered up with someone that I know she's going to have a great time with, just seeing that look of accomplishment on her face and seeing the smiles and the laughs and just seeing her whole face just glow and light up after a session and her feeling not judged and feeling safe and feeling like she's in a group of women where she can be entirely herself and everything that's come along with her in her life. And for that hour, she can just have a good time and, you know, have a laugh and work hard and do something that she's passionate about. That's been the biggest transformation. I have so much love for that girl. She just has the most infectious, wonderful energy. And I think now slowly she's starting to see that too and have that belief in herself. And I'm just like, oh my God, I'm so excited for you. Like this is such a nice journey for her. So I'm one that feels honored to have her in the community. So yeah.
Is there any person in particular that inspires you?
Is there anyone that inspires me? I think this might be like a super corny answer.
Okay, that's so cool.
But I don't think there's any one person that inspires me. What does continue to inspire me and what I do this for is the child version of myself, the younger me that I'm doing this for, the younger me that always played inside the box, and my confidence, my sense of self-worth, my sense of value was always dictated by other people's moods, by other people's validation, all that kind of thing. And I always sought that validation through the worst means growing up, and it was awful. And that's what inspires me to keep going, is that
That younger version
that
of
younger
yourself.
version of me, like that is going, you can do this, you can do hard shit, and you can play outside the box, and not seeking that validation from anybody else in the industry, in the business world, in the fitness world, in the boxing world, has just kind of propelled me further into being like, you're not just doing this for the younger you're doing this for the younger version of the other women that are here as well. So yeah, that's what I think.
That's so beautiful. So you talk about healing and emotional healing. How does boxing become a tool for that kind of deep trauma work?
It's hard. It's because I'm not completely qualified to even speak about that deep trauma work. I can only make my experiences in my life as translatable
As
possible
Yeah.
to the women that do feel comfortable opening up to me. But I just know the sense of accomplishment that you have from hitting a bag, hitting pads, getting a combo right.
Yeah.
That sense of, yes, like that was hard. I got this.
Talk to us more about the Winter Warrior Challenge and why it's more than just fitness.
Yes. So the fitness, the Winter Warrior 4-week challenge, I cannot stress enough that it has absolutely nothing to do with losing weight. I think someone as a plus size person in the industry, it would be very hypocritical of me to then project that kind of focus onto women in my community who I'm trying to embrace themselves as they are, and they're beautiful as they are. So, you know, a huge part of the Winter Warrior Challenge is one-on-one support. And I'm trying to really steer the conversation away from this cookie cutter, 1,500 calories a day, smash yourself at the gym 6 days a week. It's not about that. The one-on-one support every week is basically, what's a win for yourself this week? What's your plan to prioritize yourself this week for self-care, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, whatever it may be. But the Winter Warrior Challenge is just like a 4-week in-depth look at something that's a little bit beyond that elevated like box fit kind of environment, which is what my boot camps kind of are.
Yeah.
And it also incorporates a level of recovery each single week. So, we've got the first week, we have a beautiful nutritionist coming in to speak about the importance of, gut health and, trauma and, generational trauma and how that feeds down to your nutrition and all that kind of thing. I've got a mental health coach that's coming in as well. She's speaking about the importance of rest. And I think that is such an important piece of doing a 4-week challenge, but also to everyone and every woman in general, the importance of rest and not just like running on an empty battery all the time. And I've got we've got a group trip to a local recovery clinic as like a gals excursion after a post session, which would be beautiful. I've got another breathwork and meditation coach coming in after a session as well.
So you've got basically all the things covered.
All the things covered. But it's so important that it's more than just a boxing challenge. The winner is not based off who loses the most weight. The winner is based off whose mindset has shifted and whose knowledge and awareness of their own selves and their own bodies, who's feeling stronger mentally and physically after the 4 weeks. Because a warrior is not just about grit, and it's not just about survival and being a woman and, and associating that with a Winter Warrior Challenge. It's about who can come home to themselves, who are, who's adapting and learning the most about, not leaning into those people-pleasing tendencies, who are prioritizing themselves in their home environments and things and saying no for the first time in a long time. So that's
people
what it's about.
Being a little bit more selfish.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think there's such a negative connotation attached to people being selfish and it being a negative thing. But at the end of the day, everyone else is. So why can't you just do something for yourself as well?
Yeah.
Easier said than done.
And you spoke about rest as well and how it's really, really important for your body, especially as like a female fighter or kind of in any kind of form of training and stuff like that. Yeah. What do you feel like people need to know, or women especially need to know about rest and recovery, things like that?
It's not just for your body, it's for your mind as well. You can't pour from an empty cup. Yeah. You really, really can't. And that is in every part of life. That's in your job. That's in your ability to regulate your own emotions as a mother. It's about your ability to regulate your own emotions with your partner, how you perceive and how you digest constructive criticism at work, all those kinds of things are coming from when you're feeling empty and you're feeling depleted, and your sense of self-worth and value is based on other people around you, in my opinion anyway.
Yeah.
So I think as well, just the importance of rest is not just about body and like muscle recovery. Obviously, that is so, so important to not just flog yourself at the gym.
Yeah.
But that muscle recovery, and even not having your phone for an hour.
Oh my God, life-changing.
It's life-changing.
The first time I did it, I was like, where's my phone? What do I do?
Even just like we went to a recovery clinic the other night and we sat in this hot magnesium bath for literally an hour and not having our phones on us. We were just like talking about things that weren't, oh, so what are we doing for dinner and where do we have to be at this time for this, and just routine talk.
Bills paid, all the other shit that we have to do. Yeah.
Snooze down. Yeah. And I was like, wow, like this is really good. So in mental rest too.
Yeah. Even just this podcast, like we don't have our phones right now. We're not like scrolling and talking, you know what I mean? It's crazy.
And you get those constant dopamine hits because you got like TikTok and you got Instagram and just flick.
Oh my God, yeah.
And just your brain fries.
Especially like being on social media to market our businesses, right?
Yeah.
I feel like something that I've started doing is basically just blocking out an hour a day only to those things, and then the rest of it just needs to go on pause, because I feel like you can literally be on there for hours, right?
Especially when our businesses are a passion project as well. Your brain never truly switches off. And you think, oh no, I'll just get back to this client really quickly. And just like, I know there's an email sitting there, I'll just do that really quickly. All of a sudden it's 3 hours later and you're like, ugh.
But that's why I feel like selling with impact is so different to just selling to make money. Like when you sell with impact, your brand becomes more than just like, oh, I'm just getting a couple of dollars here or a couple of dollars there. And then that's what motivates you, and that's what also like makes it successful.
Yeah, exactly. The impact is you can't put a dollar sign on that. So
yeah. What is a morning mantra or a mindset tool that you use to start your day?
Morning mantra. I think going back to what we were saying before is that if it scares you, it's meant to scare you and you're in the right direction. So just go at it and run towards it and learn what you can from it. I think that's the most important thing. And don't take shit from anybody.
Yeah, don't.
Jordie White swearing is allowed on this podcast, but like.
What is a book that's changed your life or just impacted you in general?
On a deeper level, The Body Keeps Score is a huge book that has impacted me massively. About 2 years ago, I read that. I was on a holiday in WA. My brother lives there, and I got basically a 4-month to myself of just beach reading time.
Wow.
It was unbelievable. And it speaks so heavily about how things that you experience in your life, your body keeps score mentally. So things that you have not addressed that you've experienced in your life, they come up later, whether you want to or not, whether it be physically, mentally, in any single way. So that's when I was really kind of like, okay, what's your outlet? And that's boxing. And then that kind of releases a lot of like angst and frustration of things that you maybe haven't addressed. I mean, that's just how it affected me personally.
No, I feel the same. When I was younger, especially, I used to just go into the garage because my dad used to have it all set up there. And I just hit the boxing bag for a good hour. Yeah. And it was like,
everything is okay with the world again.
Yeah. It just feels so good. That and like a good workout, you just can't.
Yep.
The endorphins is just on another level.
Unbelievable. But yeah, that book it's fantastic. I would recommend it to anyone. Yeah.
And what is your most empowering song on your playlist? Like your badass Jordie White song?
So it's called Lioness.
What?
Oh no, it's called Lioness. So I think it's like a Swedish House Mafia song or something. Or maybe it's Pinal. One of those like early 2000s like house songs.
I love that.
Anyway, it's called Lioness and it's like Feel the Lioness, and I'm just like, it was actually the song that I launched my business with, my first reel from my launch, and I actually had tears in my eyes because I heard this song again after not listening to it since like 2008 or something like that, and then I actually had tears in my eyes because that's how like I would envisage the community, and I actually used that on my very first reel that I had posted of the workouts, and it was like tears down my eyes being like, ah. So, and I still listen to it now. Like there are so many things in the works happening for this business. You know, there's a couple of award ceremonies coming up that my business is in contention for. And every time I just get a bit nervous about it or overthink it, I listen to this song and I'm just like, yeah, this is
there
good.
Anything else you want to drop about your business while you're here? Any sneakies?
Yeah, so I've got my Winter Warrior Challenge, which will be amazing. I have Box and Breathe, which is in September at LSKD as well. So that's another boxing session, but I've already launched that, but not really officially because, again, I'm just trying to focus on the Warrior Challenge for now. However, in November, I haven't announced it all just yet, but it's going to be an exclusive morning in late November in a line with the International Day for Elimination of Violence Against Women. So it'll be...
I love that.
Yeah. So it'll be like a fundraising event.
Okay. I'll be there.
So I know you will be. So basically what will be is I'll have the boxing boot camp. A friend of mine, she is the WBA lightweight heavyweight female champion, world champion.
Woo.
And so she's actually, and she's also a mum. So
I'm telling you, mums,
I
the mums
know,
club.
they rule the world. I know.
We're on another level.
So she's actually coming along as a guest speaker.
Yeah.
Just to speak about her experience. And because I feel she represents that really fine duality between grit and survival as a boxer, but also that softness and vulnerability as a mum too.
Yeah.
And so she's going to be there speaking about her experience as a fighter, her journey into boxing as a female and all that kind of thing. And then also at the end of the morning, it's going to be, there'll be a trauma breathwork coach there who specifically works with that embodiment, grounding, meditation and journaling and, you know, releasing the things we feel shame from and all that kind of thing. So that's going to be the last 45 minutes to hour of the morning. And yeah, I think I'm estimating on what the dollar worth per ticket will be going towards a local women's shelter in Brisbane. Yeah, so it'll be a really special morning.
I'm going to be there.
Yes, it'll be good. Please come. I haven't
announced it yet.
But it's going to be in November and it's going to be huge. So I think, so it'll be such a beautiful, raw and empowering morning, and I think it will really connect with a lot of women. I'm also making it on a Sunday as well because Saturday and kids sports and mums just do not.
It does not click. It doesn't. We try. We do try. We try to get there.
So yeah.
So before we wrap up, I just wanted to ask, what does power without permission mean to you?
Means being unapologetically yourself.
Yeah.
Holding that power, and that power is you, and there is no one else like you. Your superpower is being yourself. No one else is like you. No one else holds your footprint to the world like your personality, your character and your quality traits and all those kinds of things. Nobody else has that. You have that only. And so that is your power, and using that and really striving to be unapologetically that's without permission. So
thank you so much for joining me
Thanks
today.
for having me, babe. It's been great.